All right, class, let's get started. Here we go. All right, step 5. For the next step, what we're going to do is, look, we already have the head area modeled nicely, or rather blocked out nicely, and the body blocked out pretty nicely. Now it's time for us to work on the fins. So in step 5, I'm thinking of working on this and this fin. So before we do that, let's see. Let's just survey the scene. Now what it looks like is, you'd think that, okay, it's very easy, right? To just select this and extrude it, and you're done. Something like that. But I'm telling you, it's not a good idea, because this is a very flat, thin thing, right? No one's going to respect you as a 3D modeler because of that. So this is like, it's one of the worst kind of bad polygons, just one flat thing. So what we're gonna do is, let me delete this. And what we're gonna do is, even though it is thin, actually it's not paper thin, right? It has some dimension, so we do have to create real geometry. So the way I'm gonna do that is by doing this. Hold on. Okay, so the way I'm going to create this fin is the same as I'm going to create the bottom fin. So let's do the top first. So what I will do is, I'm going to insert an edge. Right here. And then I'll insert an edge loop right here. And then I will select these two faces, and that's what I'm going to use to extrude it, pull it up. But notice that these two have already, since I made it 2 different times, it's not going to be even. So what we're going to do is, we're going to set up the fish to mirror. What does that mean? This is what it means. I'm selecting the object, and then I go to the Move tool, double click, so we get the options. And so here there is this interesting thing called symmetry settings. Open that, and by default it's off. Try object X, because X is that axis across like this. So now let's test it. If you select 1, its corresponding one automatically gets selected also. This is really helpful, because you don't have to worry about selecting both sides. And this also means that if both sides are not exactly equal, it won't get selected. Got it? It won't get selected. So if you select one and you're not selecting the other one, it means both sides are not even. I will show you a workflow to fix that separately. So this is the tool to have symmetry on both sides. So this helps you do many things, including selecting an edge, you get the opposite. Similarly, when you insert an edge loop on the one side, its corresponding one forms it precisely, and so on. Okay, now let's use that to create this thing. So what we're going to do is create an edge loop right in the middle like this, and its corresponding one, and use it to build the fin. So here it is. I have symmetry on. I can tell by looking at symmetry, and always remember that you have symmetry on. And when you want to turn it off, simply go to off. But currently I want it on. And with symmetry on, I'll insert an edge loop right here in the middle. Just going to leave it like somewhere here, because that's the thickness I'm interested in. Now, This is going to help me extrude it up. But before we do that, let's work on this line, because this line is terrible. It is a complete waste actually, because we need it only for that. But then the thing about the thing about 3D modeling is that you never create waste. So what you want to do is use this line in interesting ways. The way I'm thinking is I can use this line to just be the middle line here. Okay, I'll use, if I can bend this line to be in the middle, then it'll be a really good use of that line. And so here's how I'm going to do it. I select these, and now I can, yes, you can move it part by part, vertex with vertex, but we don't have that kind of time to waste. So I'm going to just I'm shifting its pivot to this point right here, right there. Now I will just bend it, curve it outwards, so it's even. See, and place it somewhere in the middle, and then I'll just scale it backwards also, so it's just right. Now I may have to scale it downwards as well. See, all that in one quick stroke.
Can you go through that again?
Yeah. Okay, so let me I'm gonna read. Yeah, I'll show you again. So, right, so first thing is to create these two. So I'll select this. So the first thing I do is make sure you have symmetry on. Symmetry settings, object X, and X because X is that axis across. And so I want things to be the same across this axis. On the right side, same as left side. On left side, same as right side. All right, with that on, I will just put an edge loop right here in the middle, right here. And keep it kind of thin for it to be thin right here, because this is what I'm really interested in. To simply select this and extrude up to create that fin. Right, that portion is done. Now what I'm going to do is I will use this, which will otherwise be completely wasted, to build the geometry, to build definition in an otherwise flat, boring place. Okay, so we are utilizing this edge loop, or this series of edges to work the geometry here. And so the way I'm going to do that is, so look, the easy way, or one way, is obviously this. You can just go, if you have plenty of time to spare, you can just keep going like this, and like that, and like that, and kind of push it down and all that. But that's not a very, your goal is always to find more elegant ways to do things. So I'm just selecting either these vertices like that, or if you want faster, I'll just select the edges like this, these edges, and I'll kind of curve it. How do you curve it? You can rotate, right, like that, or you can rotate this way. But so if you just move its pivot very smartly, you can control where it curves from. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just moving this pivot of these vertices, snapping it to that spot, because that's where I really want the curvature to start. Now I can bend it. So from here I can actually, remember, I can scale evenly, I can rotate evenly, and so on. So I'm going to rotate first. Simply rotate it outward like this, so it's kind of in the middle. And I'll scale also until you feel like, see, it's kind of curving nicely. You can see the profile here, see? Great. See, that's bad. This is terrible. That's bad. So find that right, how it all curves into a beautiful curve like this. Great. And we may have to see, I think I'll bend it actually downwards as well, just a bit there, just like that. Great. And then I'll just do final touch-ups here and there. And select this, see how it's kind of sticking out a little extra. I'll kind of bend it like this, push it back. It might be good.
What's the command to move the pivot with the snap?
What's that?
What's the command to move the pivot with the snap? Like to snap it into place?
Yes. So it's this. It's just like snapping anything. It's so it's like snapping anything, and we know this. Like, see, if you have two objects, you can take one, and it's an object mode. You can move this to this or anywhere by just holding down V and middle mouse drag. So hold on V. That's a shortcut of pressing this button. It's called snap to points. And then middle mouse, just drag it, and it'll go to different spots, different components actually.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the same as selecting any vertex and doing the same. Take this and snap it to that. Select this, snap it to this. Cool. Just,
Mm-hmm.
takes a little time to get used to it, but it's all good. Oh yeah, I have symmetry on. That's the other thing. That's why it's doing odd things. So because I have symmetry on, I'm selecting one and the opposite is getting selected. So if I take symmetry off, then it'll be more predictable. So I select this and snap it to that. Or select the top and then snap it to the bottom. Snap it to the bottom. See? Snap. And if it doesn't work, you can always say snap. Got it? Okay. So here you can snap it to this. So that's all I'm doing here. There's nothing more, nothing beyond what we have done before.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. There you have it. So that's how you do this. Now we will do the same at the bottom also, because there's a fin here as well. So what we did at the top, we'll do. What we did at the top, we'll do at the bottom as well. Make sure symmetry is on. Symmetry is on, and I will insert an edge loop right here. Somewhere here, I'll keep it thin enough for this fin to stick out nicely. And then I'll select these edges, and I'll first move the pivot to this spot right there. Then I will begin this curving. And scaling. See very quickly you can the whole thing works out nicely. And so our goal is, when we're done with this, you keep your eye on all these points. That, see, this vertex lines up with this. See that? And this vertex lines up with that. And of course the middle lines up together. All right, so that concludes just the placing of the correct edges required for the real task, which is this, and which is extruding. Okay, so extruding this fin. This is how we do this. Select the fin, or select this little portion here. Control E and extrude. Just like that. And
is symmetry still in effect there?
Yeah, symmetry is still in effect. It's fine. So in fact, I'll check something. I just want to just delete this to make sure that there is no plane in the middle that's happening. Okay, everything is good. So it is. Symmetry is good. So you select And then now you can just move it. You know, it doesn't matter how you do it. The goal is to just kind of get to what we are trying to do. So in fact, let's call this step 6, okay? Extruding the fin, step 6, that's easier. Now what we do is, yes, the important thing now with this fin is this. Notice these lines. Notice how this fin actually is pointing backwards. And these dark lines, though it's a part of the character design, it's intended that the fin fans out here. This is the fan portion. This kind of fans out. So we have to create these edges that'll allow for that to happen. So what we do is, instead of doing something silly like this, because notice what's going to happen. If I put an edge loop here, it'll actually go like this, okay? See that? But that edge is just going to the top when I really wanted to go to the let's call it the east end of this fish, okay? Not the north end. I want this to curve towards the east end of this fish. So the only way I can do that is by taking these vertices and kind of turning it like this. So this is here, and this is here. How does that help? I'll show you once I'm done with this side. We're creating the same thing here. Do this. Yeah, note that when you have symmetry on, the scaling won't work anymore. So selecting the 2 to scale closer, it won't work. So you have to now move it. Make sure it doesn't cross over. That's one of the dangers of this maneuver. So now I'm going to take this and these also, and we're just going to turn like this. Look, you can either turn it or you can just move it. It doesn't really matter. So I just place it here, this one here. And here's how you can check it very quickly. All you need to do is place an edge loop and see what direction it's going. See, if I place an edge loop, see how it goes to the east side. See that, guys? That's what we're trying to do. Great. But before we place that, let's make sure that its positioning is all correct. Position it correctly. Somewhere here. Somewhere here is good. Somewhere here. Now let's the thickness of this whole thing.
I think that did the 2 on the bottom get misaligned?
This one?
On your bottom fin?
Probably. Well, let's see. So I'm kind of curving you on that. Yeah, that looks good. Nothing wrong. Everything good.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Now, all right. So I have roughly placed the top and the bottom parts of the fin. Now I'm going to create the edge loop. And because of how we have designed the fin geometry, when I place an edge loop, it'll actually mimic the lines of the fin by going towards that. And that is how we can be sure that fish will deform correctly when it's time to animate. And the animators will be very happy with you. So here I'm going to place the first edge loop here. And so this curvature is perfect the way it is. Now let's see from the side. I can improve it. Here was the straight line. Make it a gentle curve. Just learn it. Great. Now, the next step is, well, what about all this? How come we don't have that curvature? Well, for that, what we do is we simply put an edge loop right here. See, in over here. So place one right in the middle here, and later we can put one here also. So now, yeah, that's good. That's good. And so let's have 2 and maybe 3. Yes. Now we'll just go with again, the goal is the least number. So 1 in the middle and 1 here. No, you know what? That's it. This is all part of simply blocking it out, right? So as far as blocking out is concerned, this is perfect for step 5 or step 6. And so that concludes that step. All right, guys, so I'm going to post these videos, and then I will actually, we can take a break right now. All right, so when you guys are, after you're done with your break, you can just continue on.